Hey guys. Hey folks. How you doing? We are here tonight. I said we might not be, but we are here tonight. And I'm just going to adjust my camera because I'm constantly moving it. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the show, A Flawed Man of God. I am your host, Stuart Davis, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause, just here to talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them, one that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're listening to my voice, if you're catching this stream, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we're discussing. So if you're somebody who is new to Christianity, or you are not a Christian, but you want to be, or you're taking those first steps into faith, you think that Christ is what has been missing in your life, that there is meaning there, but you are apprehensive about joy, about becoming a Christian. You don't know if it's the right thing. It's a big step, putting your faith into something that requires much of that faith. Trust in something that you can't necessarily feel or touch, but that you hear a bunch about. So maybe you've come to the internet just seeking some sort of motivation or affirmation, and you're on the you're doing the right thing. And if that's why you're here, then let me give that to you. You're on the right track. If you're pursuing Christ, earnestly, diligently, and obediently pursuing Christ, you should continue to do that. It's the best decision you're ever going to make. And I'm rooting for you, praying for you. And so are the folks who are tuning in and listening along with you. They're rooting for you as well. So if that's what you needed, just that motivation, then hey, great. But you might want to stick around, hang out with us, maybe spend some time learning about the faith, hanging out with us, spreading, maybe sharing some of your thoughts, feelings. We got a great project that we're in the middle of, going through the Bible, a couple of chapters at a time, or in this case, a few Proverbs at a time. But we'd love to have you along, and maybe you can grow in your faith, and maybe we can help you as best as we can. If you were already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and discussions, welcome as well. You'll find we run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. It's about the small group. It's about the community that we got going on here. And like I said, it is small. We usually don't, each night, we usually don't number over a dozen live. But, that gives everybody a chance to kind of be heard, put their 2 cents in. And we enjoy that. And no matter whether you are a well-established Christian, more mature in your faith than me, more knowledgeable than us, most of us, in matters of Christianity, or if you're just a novice starting off, one of those folks I talked about at the beginning, or if you're somewhere in between, love for you to participate and be part of this show. And that's easy to do. All you got to do is get in the chat. is joining that small group that we got here. Join the chat. You won't regret it. Got a great group of folks who tune in and night out. We'd love to have you here as part of it. And it's very easy to do. Just got to put your 2 cents worth in. What do you agree with or disagree with? Where am I right or wrong? What unique perspective, experience, impressions do you have that you can share that maybe we haven't considered? Or maybe you just want to add on to something somebody else said. Share your opinion. Ask questions. I may not have the answer to these questions, but we can talk about them. And maybe somebody in the chat maybe we can point you in the right direction for those answers, or maybe somebody in the chat knows. And with that said, how's everybody doing this evening? Brenda first in the chat. Hello and blessings. Blessings to you as well, Brenda. Welcome to the stream. Nico is here. Hola. Or holla. Minus an L. Matt Felty is here. Smashing like is the right thing, too. Yeah, smash the like. Look, guys, if you enjoy the show, like, subscribe, hit the notification. If you want to support the show, I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for donations. What I'm asking you to do is to share it with people you think you can hear it. If somebody's like, oh man, I'm looking for a good podcast or stream to listen to, you can go, well, I don't know about a good stream or a good podcast, but I do know about this one. But share it, right? Tune in. I love seeing the regulars here. And I love seeing the visitors. Doesn't matter. When did the channel break 500? I think it broke 500 almost a year ago. But I've been hovering in at about 500 for a while. A little bit over, but I've been I made a push, put a blurb out on Facebook to get over 500. That was a while ago, and I got all the way up to about 510, 512, and it stayed about there for quite a while. Let's see, there's live. There we go. Help us promote fairness. This is YouTube talking to me. You help us promote fairness and ensure YouTube works for everyone by voluntarily telling us about yourself. We'll keep your responses confidential. Nice try, Fed boy. The British regulars? No, Dresden's not here. Like I said, I hope he's still tuning in. I miss seeing his early hellos to the stream. Couldn't remember if we discussed. I think we discussed it when it happened, but we haven't focused on it much. Like I said, the channel, I get about 3 to 4 dozen views when I'm streaming at a regular clip. It's been very it's been much more sporadic. It's been much more sporadic over the last month or so. So it's been closer to 2 dozen. Been hovering in like 18 to 22 range on views. But like I said, this is not. I'm not here to be internet famous. It's not the goal. The more I see people who become internet famous, the less I want to be internet famous. That stuff tends to mess with people. And it's one of those things where it's like this, what happens to somebody when they become that popular, whether it be on the internet or, you know, becoming or a well-recognized author or any type of celebrity status. Is it just something with our egos that goes to our head? Is it the money, and do we get bored that makes us uh, do things we shouldn't, or are our mistakes just kind of highlighted? Because it happens. No, and I'm not saying it happens to everybody, but it happens enough that it makes you wonder, were they normal? Was there a point where they were normal? How did they get here? Now, for celebrities, like for like actors and actresses, I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up, um, just knowing the folks who were in drama class and took theater, the general that general group was insane. Was insane. So that side, the actors and actresses never surprises me. I think that the profession of pretending to be other people for a living, especially some of the methods that folks go into to be better in that craft, really lends itself to continued like identity issues. And then you put all those folks around each other and add money and fame into it. That's got to be one of the most toxic mixtures I can imagine. And I feel sorry for those folks. So you feel like, this is just somebody pursuing a passion of theirs, but then not knowing that it's not healthy and ultimately will lead you down a dark path, as it does for many of them. Blame cocaine for when people go crazy. You could see it being a contributing factor. It's actually the freedom and money to do things we never could before, and we are unprepared for the temptation. Yeah. Yes. I guess the idea of the temptation to do what? Just because, I mean, do people have desires that they don't act on because they can't afford it? Like, I guess drugs would be an issue, like, because, right, I get the impression they cost money, but at the same time, they infest low income areas. I don't know. It's not a place I want to find myself. Now, look, would not have a problem at all being independently wealthy. I would I would enjoy that, but the concern, and I guess it's something we should all be cognizant of as we get older, as perhaps our income grows, if we do come into money, is to stay firm in understanding where you came from, understanding your roots, um, s- stay true to the principles that you hold dear and you believe in. Because for us as Christians, these principles are supposed to be godly principles and commandments, things for us to be obedient. Stay you instead of trying to be, I guess, something, someone everybody expects you to be. Then don't chase money, don't chase relevance. I don't know. I'm not an expert in any way. It's just things that run through my mind that bother me because It's not just what we see today. We see this corruption happen in scripture. Go through Kings. Jeroboam, when he is given given 10 of the 12 tribes of the kingdom to keep as Israel. And he makes this agreement with God. God says, "I'm giving this to you. And if you do the things that I asked of your predecessors, you'll be blessed immeasurably." But as soon as he takes that gift, then things start to get screwy. And that's not a singular case. Ego plus ability. You think you'll try this thing that no one will judge you for it, or maybe even no. It puts you in a place where you are not putting up safeguards. And eventually you find, I'll wait for the rest of that. That's from Nernaeth. Eventually you find something that destroys your life with irreparable consequences. And Matthew said earlier, the lure of personal branding. Or as my brother is so fond of saying, you start smelling yourself. And that's it. And oh, it's so great. But I guess, you know, I think that's where good friends who you trust to hold you accountable can come and play. And you've got to be honest enough and you to listen to them and humble enough to dial things back and not so in love with greed and worldly things that you can let go if you have to. But if I don't do this, where will my revenue come from? Well, somewhere else. Blimp ad. This is where the channel needs, trust me. I guess. What? College football games? NASCAR? Where are we doing? What are we doing the blimp ads for? Or are we just randomly flying a blimp over places? I don't have a blimp. And I don't know a guy with a blimp that I'm aware of. All right. Let's worry about today's problems. Let's worry about our issues right now instead of borrowing trouble that maybe others are experiencing that we may never have. Word. All right. So we will close out Proverbs 20 tonight. And that will leave us with we still got a long way to go. I don't think we've finished Proverbs before the end of the year. All right, let's get back into it. Bedtime break? No, not bedtime break tonight. Dude, man is not feeling well, so he turned in early. All right. But thank you for the heads up. I caught it last night on my own, but I do forget from time to time. I really struggle with that. And he will be joining the show from his computer over there sometime during his school winter break. We will talk about some part of the Bible that he wants to talk about. And I will ask him some questions about it. And you guys can talk with him. He will be off camera, but he will be on mic. As I told him, that's about as close as I'll get to letting him get there. All right. Wheels and wheels. No. That's deep for kid his age. Getting into Ezekiel. All right. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 26. A wise king sifts out the wicked from among the good and drives the threshing wheel over them to separate the chaff from the grain. The wheat from the chaff, guys. Those of my more biblically experienced folks are getting are remembering some things from Revelation, separating the wheat from the chaff. But again, wrapping up what most of Proverbs is about: discernment, wisdom, doing the right thing, using those to do the right thing, to make yourself more righteous. Not righteous, more righteous. Or maybe the best way, less wicked. Less wicked. Depends on if you're a Calvinist or an optimist. But a wise king uses discernment and wisdom, and he knows to pick the bad out of the good. The wise king who's wiser than God. You keep that out of there to keep the harvest good. The bad apple. You get it out of there. You don't want rot to spread. Chaff doesn't belong with wheat. You're not carrying produce to the market with the spoiled fruit and vegetables mixed in with the good stuff. And it's not always a painless process. And that is, I need to think about it. We were talking about, all the stuff we were talking about with surrounding yourself with friends who are going to look out for your best interests, who are going to keep you grounded, who are not afraid to call you out, who care about you, right? Who help you grow in your own walk with Christ and your faith. That's good. You keep that. But the enablers, those who would tempt you, those perhaps need to be sifted out. And we're not talking about people that you're discipling to, people that you're trying to bring to God or get to follow him more diligently and faithfully because maybe they're in a bad place. That's you doing work for the kingdom. But in your personal, why it struggles so much. Sorry. complaining about my camera. In your personal life, who you're listening to, who you're taking advice and counsel from, who you're letting influence you, who's pouring into you. You need to be able to filter the good from the bad and separate the bad, separate from you if need be. If it seems to me that the wicked and the good are going through the same thing, then it all gets sorted at the end. It depends on how you did in the test where you end up. Yeah, from the perspective of God, God sorting them out, as the Marines say, God sorting them out. That's kind of what he's doing. That's kind of what this is saying here. If you look at it from that angle, if we look at it for like within our lives, our daily lives, the king is ruling over people. He has responsibility. We have responsibility over ourselves and our lives and our decisions that we're going to make to either be faithful to God or not be. And when we're looking at that, what's in our life, we really need to keep what's good together and pull out what's bad and kind of get it out of there. But from a time of judgment, or if we are thinking about things, you know, we didn't get justice. How is so and so able to get away with this? Um, talking about the big guy in the news right now still it seems to be Steve Lawson, and a famous preacher caught doing some inappropriate things while he's married with a much younger woman. And the accounts say not repentant, remaining silent on the issue, not, nothing, right? Now, whether that's true or not, we think instances like that where folks or maybe pastors who have created their own version of God, and they want you to, and they feel comfortable preaching that God, not God our Father, but this concoction of theirs that makes them feel better, makes them feel some sort of moral superiority or something. I don't know. No, 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 not that young. Lawson's like 70 years old, and I think this woman was like in her late 20s. Old enough to know better, and obviously he was old enough to know better. But again, that's still, I mean, that's just using that as an example in that instance. Not trying to use this as something to gossip. This is something that's out there in the news, and it's an example of something that could happen. And we go, how do these people get away with this? How do these preachers like James Martin or some of these Methodist churches, these pastors, they promote things and don't call people out on sinful behavior. They embrace it. They celebrate it. They attach pride to it and hold it around and parade around like it's great. And it's something holy. It's something that God loves. How do they get away with that? Like Nerneth said, that this is kind of how this also has that kind of feel to it. When that wheel comes grinding over them, it'll get separated. Justice will be served. But be careful again. Be careful what injustices you have done. Then be thankful that Christ went on the cross for the forgiveness of those injustices. Oh, manipulation tag. Oh, yeah. No, my favorite one is, oh, there's no love like, there's no hate like Christian love. Man, just shut up about it. You don't like it that we don't approve of things. You don't like it that we put it out there. You don't like it that we go out, and I'm not talking about you, Emmanuel. Hopefully you're not saying I'm telling you to. No, I'm talking about these folks who try to manipulate with these, you know, this is this is never, you know, Christians are the reason why so many people aren't, what is it? There was a it's hang on. Christians are so hateful that they know that they push people away from God. Kind of that mentality. It's just like, yeah, I know those folks are out there, but at the same time, you know, you know enough good people. You don't want to listen to them. You don't like what they're saying because it's convicting or it's uncomfortable or you're just so in love with what you're doing that you'd have to give up that you just don't want to do it. So why don't you God people? Why don't you Jesus freaks just shut up? And they ignored him in the 90s when the Jesus freaks were telling them that if they kept up on this path, eventually they were going to end up out of where we're at right now. And everybody's scratching their head going, oh, maybe they were, maybe the religious right was right after all. Hold on. All right. 27. Oh, wait, her first Emmanuel. There is a standard we all have to live up to, the standard. Well, we all have to chase the standard. Right? We can't ignore the standard. The standard is above us, which is why Christ made that sacrifice as an example to us and as forgiveness for us not being living up to the standard. We fall short of all fall short, right? But there is a standard. There is a standard. I've been chilling out since I met you, and the streams have personally changed me for the better. Well, I'd say that just maybe just finding a place to um, talk about where we're at as men, as people, as Christians, brothers and sisters in Christ, the struggles that we go through, reading the Word, and kind of risk resetting, right? Because you can go. It's easy to go into a dark place with where the world is at on either side. On either side, it can drive you to either side, and that's what I said. That one of the things that uh, I realized I was missing was when I left church. I didn't think I needed it, and then I went back about 10 years later, and I realized how far off I'd drifted, how much I needed that um, to hold me accountable, and to recenter me every week, among other things. Worship being important too, but as far as like my own, understanding principles and what I need to live up to and changing myself for the better, those help me. And I think doing this is it continues that as well. Not that I have stopped going to church, I still go to church. But this is just an added thing. The slippery slope is real, but by saying D&D and Warhammer open portals to demons, that was stupid. Yeah, well, I think part of that was the unknown side of that. Now, there are some facets to D&D, and it's not necessarily the gaming side of it, but it's the woke embracement of certain things that have been put in there that has made D&D potentially a negative influence. I mean, look at some of the content in Baldur's Gate. Full on degeneracy. And that's that is Dungeons and Dragons. And Warhammer, what a lot of people don't understand, that's just wargaming with a backstory to it. Now the backstory has become much more involved. It has become its own industry now with the book series and everything. But I think part of what Warhammer teaches you, when we take the Horus heresy and we travel through the perspective of Garviel Loken, who is a space marine, and he's got this, and he's living in a very secular, militantly atheistic society. He is raised that and brought up and taught that there are no gods, and that those beliefs needed to be shut out. And then all of a sudden he realizes that there are demons and there are powers well beyond his understanding that exist outside of what the atheist sphere looks like. And that all the theories behind that is the lack of belief in it would weaken those demons and everything. But instead, all it did was make them more vulnerable to it. And the hubris and the complacency that is going on in that world, in that universe, wherever you in that time period within that society, is ultimately one of the big factors in bringing its downfall. That and the government. Big government. That and big government. So, I mean, some of that stuff is just not understanding it, and it wasn't part of a norm. But when you see that there are demons and stuff like that, nerd culture was very insular. It was very niche, and it is only in the last decade and a half probably that nerd culture has become much more mainstream and more people know about it. But it's still weird to some people. I know. I get the looks. It's not bad. It's just this is what it is. It sounds like someone has never experienced the fun of an Ephesian style book burning. No. Don't tempt me, Frodo. All right. Verse 27. The spirit or conscience of a man is the lamp of the Lord, searching and examining all the innermost parts of his being. Your conscience. right? Your little Jiminy Cricket sitting there trying to guide you, to keep you on the straight and narrow. It's God. A lot of times that's guidance from God. It's the lamp of the Lord, searching and examining all the innermost parts of your being. We ignore it at times because there are things that give us pleasure, make us happy, feel good inside until it's done. When it's done, when you're done binging on whatever, who's still there? That conscience. And you can convince yourself it's just self hate, that it's social engineering, but it's always been there. Like Nernea said, yeah, if we really think to ourselves, we know what is right and wrong, doesn't stop us from trying to talk ourselves into things. So sometimes you don't, it doesn't take much discussion. It's like, well, this is going to feel good. This from the guy perspective, right? But there were boobs, right? No, no. It's like the meme. Hey, psst, the conscience sticks up in the middle of the alluring female figure. Hey, look at me. That's temporary. That is temporary. Salvation is eternal. And right, but that's there. It's there. That conscience, that spirit is there when you're done. And it's not hate, it's disappointment. And we're hard on ourselves, and maybe we should be. But being hard on ourselves should drive us to improve. It should drive us to um, not make the same mistakes. Because if we're not willing to improve, we're not motivated to improve, we're giving up on being on doing what's right, on being obedient. We're giving up on our faith. And like I said, that's faith. It's more than just saying you believe. It's really believing, really believing. And that's why I think that whole faith versus works argument that uh Catholics and Protestants get into is more semantics. Because if you ask them, say, demonstrate to me what faith is, you'll see it. I don't know about the penance stuff. That's different, but in this case, Manuel said, I haven't played Baldur's Gate. Do believe the first stuff is heresy, and the lore in Warhammer shows that at the end of the day, we still need something to believe. Not just at the end of the day, we still need something to believe, that there is stuff out there. And just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it can't hurt you. That might be unintentionally a truism that Warhammer showed that so many people, just because you don't believe it's a sin, just because you don't believe that Satan's going to really tempt you, just because you don't believe in God, doesn't mean that you aren't being held to a standard. Doesn't mean that Satan isn't going to tempt you. Doesn't mean that what you enjoy doing is okay and that you won't be judged on it. It's okay, Emmanuel. There's enough in anime out there that is so niche that normies and aren't interested in most of it. I would say probably in many cases Warhammer is more palatable than anime to many folks because again, it's wargaming. It's not cartoons. But you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. That spirit inside you, your conscience isn't going to say God is not going to just ignore it. Guilt is real. Shame is real. It's real. They're real feelings, and there is use behind it. There is value to it. You got no argument with my last pastor about that because it's like it's shame's bad. Shame's no, it's not. It's not. It should be something we try to avoid by doing the right thing. It shouldn't be all um all consuming in our lives. We shouldn't go our lives just completely overcome with grief, shame, and guilt over the things that we've done, but it needs to be there. And it discounts the severity of sin. It discounts why the reason for Christ's sacrifice when you try to get rid of that. Or try to tell people to dismiss that. Guilt is real, shame is real. Forgiveness and salvation is greater. Oh, it's so shame is taboo in society today, Emmanuel. Or well, in certain levels, you're supposed to be shamed for doing the right thing or shamed for things you have no control over. That's how the shame is used now. It's been turned around, pointed at that's been pointed at us. All right, 28. Loyalty and mercy, truth and faithfulness protect the king. Hold on. Loyalty and mercy, truth and faithfulness protect the king, and he upholds his throne by loving kindness. Values, important values. Loyalty. Think about what loyalty entails. Mercy, truth, faithfulness. All of these things are part of Christianity. And loving kindness is shown to us. Let's see what the Niv says on this one. Love and faithfulness keep a king safe through his love. Or, sorry, through love, his throne is made secure. And I'm interested to see where that is pointing to. Or in what way that's pointing to God. But I will say, God is king over us, and he has chosen to do it through love and kindness. And he has made things like loyalty, mercy, truth, and faithfulness what is good and right in our lives, in the world, and things worth protecting, worth seeking, worth improving in ourselves. To what end? I don't know. It's not my point. It's not my place. But I will trust in the Lord that it is whatever the reason. It is for a good end. I like this. This is 29. The glory of young men is their physical strength, and the honor of aged men is their gray head, representing wisdom and experience. Here, before we get into that, Nernaeth had something to say. A couple of possible reads. One, a good king is honest and engenders loyalty from his followers to protect him. Two, a good king keeps honest and saves him from corruption. This is good advice from Solomon to future kings who will most often choose to be neither good or honest. Will demand loyalty, but only in one direction. And boy, oh boy, the corruption. That's good considering what's about to happen in Israel after Solomon writes this. All right. The glory of young men is their physical strength, and the honor of aged men is their gray head, representing wisdom and experience. Yes, when we are young, we are physically capable. We're doers. We go out and do the things, lift the things. Rah! Pick up big items. Throw stuff. Fight. Right? But as we get older, that physical strength, me saying this as a 41-year-old, that physical strength begins to wane and you become more dependent on wisdom and experience to get us through day to day. And oftentimes it gets us farther. And as I understand, you learn how to work smarter, or else you lose the ability to work, or the ability entirely. You should get smarter as you get older. That's the goal. Ooh, that's the goal. All right, last one. Huh. Blows that wound cleanse away evil, and strokes reach to the innermost parts. Blows that wound cleanse away evil, and strokes reach the innermost parts. Niv has got a great one. Blows and wounds scrub away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. um, is this one of the things that pain is a great educator? It's experience that oftentimes sticks with you. I think this is this is advice that corporal punishment is a good thing. Blows that wound cleanse away evil. Like, I'm picking up what it's trying to get across. I'm having difficulty putting it into words. And strokes reach the innermost parts. So, yeah. Pain can get your attention. Yeah, and this is kind of where I was at. Nurant says sometimes you are so messed up that someone has to slap you upside the head because you won't learn any other way. If something is hammering you, it's a sign something is wrong and you should check. Try the ESV. Let's see what the ESV says. That's very similar to the Amplified. Blows that wound cleanse away evil, strokes make clean the innermost parts. I think we're picking up what it's driving at, though. It's just like I said, I'm having difficulty putting it into words. I guess it's already in words. Where is that? New International Niv. Proverbs 2020 blows at womb cleanse. Oh, you you posted it right there. Okay, thanks, Matt. I wasn't paying attention. uh Thad said sounds like Nietzsche. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, pain is a powerful motivator and educator. Also, how oftentimes he said, won't do that again. Right? How many times has something like that, something in your life had to hurt you for you to wake up and understand what you were doing was wrong? How you're treating somebody, how you're treating yourself, things that you are engaging in, things that you're saying. Are you referring to the Black Knight who always triumphs? Based on your earlier tis but a scratch. Oh, it's just a flesh wound. It does teach a lesson. I think we're picking it up. I think we're getting to the I think we're understanding. We're picking up what it's putting down. All right. Whew. All right, well there we go. That's Proverbs 20 in a nutshell. A six a six part six part nutshell. We're going to be so used to this kind of stuff. We're not going to know how to act when we get back to narrative parts of the Bible, like when we get to Daniel, Hosea, Jonah. We're not going to know what to do when we're going through 2 chapters a night. That's a 5 per average you predicted. Well, I feel that's a good pace for us. Now we've slowed down on some, but not often. But that's my goal. I don't try to put it short, but 5 per average. That seems to be what we're able to cover in about an hour's worth of time. Sometimes we go over more. We take more than time than that because there's a lot of chit chat, and by chit chat I mean it's mostly my fault. I don't keep us on schedule. Oh, I know. It's just gonna be such a different thing since we've been in Psalms and Proverbs for so long, and we've still got a ways to go. We've still got many weeks. And then once we're done with Proverbs, we're going into Ecclesiastes, which is really it's philosophical. It's not quite like Proverbs. It's philosophical, but a little bit different. And Song of Psalms songs, but they're going to be very quick comparatively to Psalms and Proverbs. I mean, Ecclesiastes is 12 chapters. Song of Solomon, Song of Songs, how you want to do it, say it, is only 8. Whereas Proverbs is, I think, 30. Though it's not scrolling on for me right now. I think about 30. And Psalms was 150. But Proverbs takes a while to get through each chapter. Whereas we were doing about 2 Psalms a night. So we got another probably 6-part chapter coming up. It's good. We're getting good discussion out of it. It's good content. Is this a new Transformers? Transformers 1. Oh, okay. I might check it out. All right, so Nernaeth, Emmanuel, Matt Felty, Thad the Man. And Brenda and Nico, and I think that's it. That's the chat, but it's been plenty to talk about tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for contributing and be part of the show. Thank you for making it better by your mere presence in the chat. You've made it better. And I appreciate it. Love you guys. To those who are just listening, I love y'all too. I just want y'all to get in the chat. And if you don't, I understand. I'm just glad that you guys are here. I'm glad that you guys are finding this place, this stream, to be something you can come back to. And to everybody who has not been able to catch me live or catch me on replay, thank you for watching. I know you guys are out there because I see the view counts. They still go up. They go up throughout the week. So I know you guys are out there, and I'm going to tell you, I'm appreciative. I love it. And I hope to catch you live sometime soon. Everybody, we should be back tomorrow night. And starting on Proverbs 21. Everybody have a good night, and God bless.